might be a good time to shoot this car story that I wanted to shoot for a while now, which is where I was going to explain how everything began. And, you know, as I explained, starts off at my high school. Who the hell is yelling? Take you guys around anyways. I mean, I'm just passing by. Obviously we're not gonna get any reactions unless students are walking home or whatever, but obviously you're not gonna catch them here at school. But long story short, this is where it all began. As you guys know, I am a lawyer, and unlike other occupations and whatnot, obviously you can't become a lawyer without going to school for a while. So that's why I consider high school to be where it all began. That's where it all started actually counting towards something. I did well in middle school as well. I did well in elementary school, generally speaking, too, but obviously none of that really counted for anything outside of maybe self-satisfaction or whatever, right? So didn't really count for anything. High school is when it finally started counting, and I took it very seriously. I'm competitive in nature, so I kind of like the competitive aspect of people trying to compete for, you know, being valedictorian, even if we're just freshmen at the time or whatever. But yeah, so I always took it seriously. I knew what I wanted to do, generally speaking, and I believe it was fall of my freshman year of high school. That's when I decided that I wanted to be a lawyer. I feel like I was always academic, but you know, up to that point I wasn't 100% sure. I wanted to be a firefighter, and it slowly, I guess, phased out when I realized how hard it would be to get where I want to go if I am a firefighter. So I really thought about it. We actually had this health class in freshman year of high school, and in that class we had a certain aspect, I'm not really sure how it tied in, but it was basically about our futures and stuff, and like career planning kind of. So we had a class about that, or something along those lines, or you know, maybe like a career development like association or something maybe came to our health class to speak or something along those lines, and we were doing like certain assignments for them and so on and so forth. And basically that's when I sort of narrowed down what I wanted to really do, which was either be a business owner, become an engineer. I believe maybe surgeon was on that list, but maybe it wasn't as serious because I know I was not good at science, and the lawyer was the other option. And obviously I ended up choosing becoming a lawyer sort of around that time span where I really was thinking about these different options. I think I sort of landed with a lawyer almost off tops because, you know, to be a business owner, usually you need money to do that. So obviously I couldn't just do that right out of school, right out of college or whatever, because obviously I wouldn't have money to do that. So I was like, you know, I think a lawyer would be a good start to get where I want to go, which is obviously to become a business owner at one point or another, so I could have passive income and stuff and not have to work forever. But you know, so that's kind of where it came about. Obviously I ended up choosing the lawyer path, seemed the most logical, and I kind of ran with it. So ran with that, continued, you know, focusing on school. I was already doing that, so I don't think deciding to become a lawyer was going to really change how hard I was working in school. but I knew, you know, at this point it was definitely counting for something. It was not a joke, and you know, I should address it in that manner, and that's what I basically did. So look at that I-8, not something you see every day. But yeah, so I took school seriously, and long story short, I ended up getting good grades. You know, at one point I was ranked number 1 in the class. At another point I was ranked number 2. I think I ended off sophomore year basically ranked at 2. And then in junior year, at that point I was ranked, I believe, number 5. And junior year was actually very hard, to say the absolute least, and I'm not going to really get into the nitty-gritty of it. So I did fall down in a certain amount of spots, but I came back, so I was within the top 20 students in our graduating class by the end. Long story short, grades got me into UC Davis, which at least at that time, I'm pretty sure it's ranked high now, but I think at that time it was ranked number 9 of public universities, I believe. So it was ranked pretty well. And yeah, so I went to Davis, and then once my time in Davis ended, I only spent 3 years in college before graduating. And then after I graduated, before I graduated, obviously started applying to law schools and whatnot, started taking it seriously, tried to figure out where I wanted to go. And I basically, that dude, I don't know if you guys will be able to see his reaction, but he's staring hard. Oh, this guy's staring hard too. But basically decided that, you know what, I'm moving on such a fast pace to where I want to go, that I want to see if I could graduate from law school early so I could be a lawyer sooner, which obviously was the end goal. Consistently talked about it in Davis. You know, I didn't really like college that much. I wasn't fond of it. And I kept talking about how I was just waiting for my day to come where I could go to law school. That guy lived over here too, and you know, get to where I wanted to be overall. So long story short, what's this seatbelt making hella noises? Long story short, I found a law school that basically had essentially like a 2-year program. Decided to go there. The only downside of it was leading up to applying to schools and stuff. I actually didn't want to leave California. I didn't want to leave the Bay at all. You know, I had done that for college, and that didn't really work out that well, and I felt like I wasn't actually ready to leave home to the extent that I thought I was when I left for college. And you know, so I was like, I didn't really want to leave, but long story short, I decided to go with that 2-year law school program and leave California altogether. The hell was that? So I ended up leaving California. Probably couldn't have gone any further than North Carolina, considering we pretty much went all the way across country. And yeah, that's where things kind of went. And obviously doing well in high school got me to the college. Doing pretty decent in college and graduating early got me to law school at 21. So, you know, I graduated high school at 18, pretty much just like everybody else, depending on when your birthday is in the year. But pretty much graduated at 18. And then I thought that dude was looking, but I'm not sure. When I looked, I feel like he looked away, but maybe he was never looking this way. But regardless, and then I went to college, graduated college early, like I mentioned. So I graduated college at 21, went to law school at 21, graduated law school at 23, and yeah, graduated college at 23, took the bar exam while I was 23. And then by the time bar results came out, which said I passed, at that point I had already turned 24. I got my bar results in like the first week of May, I believe, and I turned 24 at the end of February. So, you know, basically was a lawyer a couple of months into being 24. And yeah, so that's kind of where things started. That's how I became a lawyer at 24. A couple of months into work, I got the C63 AMG that I had, which was a 2018. And then when I was 26, which was last year, I ended up trading that C63 AMG for this Lamborghini Gallardo. So that's pretty much the entire story. You know, keeping it as short as possible without going all crazy and stuff. So that's pretty much the story of how I got the Lambo, where it started. Obviously there's so many more stories in high school, so many stories in college, so many stories in law school, and so on and so forth. But obviously that would make the story time hours long, if that, maybe days long. So yeah, that's where it pretty much all started. Obviously it's probably not that exciting for the average person. As you guys may have seen, somebody had asked me one time in public how I got this car, and people ask me that quite often on social media as well, but first time somebody had asked me that in person, and they weren't very enthusiastic about the answer they got in response, because it is a more traditional route. Obviously there's probably quicker ways to do it, as you guys often see on social media, but my path was very much traditional and took a long time to build. You know, obviously, as I've mentioned before, getting a Lamborghini was my childhood dream, and that came about when I was like 7 or 8. So, you know, by the time I got a Lamborghini and all the work that got put in, I was already 26. So it was very much in the making over time. It wasn't something that happened overnight, as much as I wish it would have. You know, maybe if I started social media a lot sooner, maybe I could have gotten a Lamborghini a lot sooner through social media, rather than, you know, getting it from being a lawyer. Maybe I could have balanced everything all at once, or something like that. But, you know, it ended up what it was. Obviously it took its time, and you know, eventually we got it, which is all that really matters at the end. So I'm very grateful to have even gotten there at all, because, you know, everybody has dreams, or a lot of people have dreams, and unfortunately things sometimes arise, or you lose motivation and stuff, and long story short, you end up not reaching where you wanted to go. But, you know, very grateful that I was given the chance to make it all happen, and this is my way of giving back. You know, that's kind of the premise of my channel. You know, originally I was giving back by giving college advice, law school advice. Then I transitioned more towards entertainment, try to figure out what would work for entertainment purposes. And yeah, I think I found exactly where my niche is, which is not actually surprising, because I always loved cars, and now I'm trying to sort of give back in that way, and sort of share my story, motivate everybody, and, you know, make it a lot larger than just cars or a Lamborghini, and like motivate others to do just as well, if not better than what I've done so far. And yeah, that's pretty much this entire story. I may drop in clips if something else that's interesting happens, but if not, then I'll just leave it at that. So thank you all for watching. If there's more clips, you guys will see it after this. If not, then it, you know, it is what it is. Nothing interesting happened, but I do appreciate everybody watching. That was a nice 5.0, and yeah, stick around for more car stories, more adventures, live reactions, so on and so forth with the Lambo.